These are 6 child YouTubers that once had it all, a perfect career set out for them for the rest of their lives. Unfortunately for all of these children, they would go on to lose absolutely everything, starting with Chad Frankie and his 5 siblings. Chad Frankie was a part of a YouTube family channel named 8 Passengers. Originally, they were a beloved family of 8, which posted wholesome videos of their kids growing up. By their peak in 2020, they amassed over 2 million subscribers and 1 billion views. But this is where things took a drastic turn for the worst. People online began noticing that the mother Ruby had an unusually harsh way of punishing her kids. For example, Chad once played an innocent prank on one of his brothers. Ruby didn't like this, so she ended up banning him from his bedroom for 7 months, forcing him to sleep on a beanbag.
Sleeping on a beanbag.
I've been sleeping on a beanbag since October. And they gave my room back like 2 weeks ago. Oh, I'll give you the reason why I lost my bedroom. I think so. I think this is the reason. At least this is the reason that's been in my head. It's pretty funny, but now that I look back, I mean, it's pretty depressing.
No, we never told our viewers.
That I woke Russell up at 2 in the morning and told him that we're going to Disneyland and he has to pack. And he got up and made his bed all neatly and then packed all his clothes in the suitcase.
In another instance, she was making her 6-year-old daughter make her own lunch for school. And if she wasn't capable of doing so, she would have to go hungry for the day.
I just got a text message from Eve's teacher, and she said that Eve did not pack a lunch today, and can I bring a lunch over to the school? This happens quite often when you're raising children, because I know that her teacher is uncomfortable with her being hungry and not having a lunch, and it would ease her discomfort if I came to the school with a lunch. But I responded and just said, Eve is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, and she actually told me she did pack a lunch. So the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry.
Things only got worse and worse after videos online started circulating how physically poor she treats her family off camera as well. For not doing his chores at home, one of the boys' heads was held underwater for an extended period of time, and one of the girls was forced to repeatedly jump on a cactus. In 2022, Ruby broke up with her husband Kevin and instead partnered with a therapist named Jody. They created the Connections program, which promoted even more extreme parenting techniques. However, in 2023 is where everything finally came to an end. Police arrested Ruby in August 2023 after her 12-year-old son appeared at a neighbor's house with open wounds and duct tape on his ankles and wrist, showing clear signs of he had been tied down to a chair and managed to escape through a window to escape his home. Emergency services also found another 10-year-old daughter in the house who was also being abused. Both children were immediately taken to a hospital where the boy was treated for severe malnutrition and deep lacerations from being tied up with rope. Both the mother and the therapist were immediately sentenced to prison, and the 8 Passengers YouTube channel was permanently deleted. On December 18, 2023, Ruby pleaded guilty to 4 counts of aggravated child abuse and can be sentenced for up to 30 years behind bars. The oldest daughter, Shari, shared an Instagram story of her mother being taken to prison, and another one that read, "We've been trying to tell the police and CPS for years about this, and are so glad they finally decided to step up. Kids are safe, but there's a long road ahead, providing evidence that getting back on track from a completely destroyed childhood is no easy task." Piper Rockel. Piper Rockel was once seen as the perfect example of a Gen Z influencer. She was an energetic, confident child that loved creating videos centered around relationships, as well as uploading challenge content. By 2020, she was creating music for over 50 million people, and it looked like everything was going great for herself and her channel. With over 12 million subscribers, it seemed like Piper was set for the rest of her life. However, that just wasn't the case for much longer. For context, Piper managed a group called the Piper Squad, which had around 15 members at any given time. In 2022, 11 former members of the Piper Squad, some of which were minors at the time, came forward with a lawsuit against her mother and manager, Tiffany Smith. The allegations were for emotional abuse, manipulation, harassment, and forced participation in content that was far too mature for their age. A plaintiff claimed that they were encouraged to behave in sexually suggestive ways on camera.
Were you ever asked to pose provocatively or to wear things you were uncomfortable wearing?
Oh yeah, Tiffany would always tell me to go up into Piper's closet and get something that's more tight and revealing.
This can be seen in thumbnails like this one, where it's portrayed that Piper is pregnant. But in reality, when you click on the video, it's only her mother that is doing the test. Piper herself wasn't named as a perpetrator in the lawsuit, but her brand was inseparable from the people in charge. Her mother's complete control over the content she would post, her image online, and the people Piper surrounded herself with became central to the scandal. In 2024, the case was settled for just shy of $2 million, but the damage was already done. Public perception of Piper quickly changed from YouTube sweetheart to potential victim of child exploitation. Netflix then went on to release a documentary series titled Bad Influence: The Dark Side of Kidfluencing, which only confirmed this drama. The series featured testimonies from former squad members, legal documents of exploitation, and footage showing how manufactured and pressured the content for Piper's channel truly was. Nowadays, Piper's channel rarely sees any activity. It's been a full 6 months since she last posted a video, and when she did, it received only a 25% like to dislike ratio. It's clear that with the comments turned off, her mother is trying to avoid any further criticism as much as she can. It seems as if now she's switched over to the Piper Live channel, where she live streams her day-to-day life exploring her city with many dramatic moments and controversial creators. Micah Stoer. Micah Stoer was once upon a time one of YouTube's most polished mum influencers. A clean home, clean kids, and a carefully crafted channel full of perfection. Her family vlogs and parenting tips earned her 700,000 subscribers on her channel The Store for Life and a reputation as one of the best mothers on YouTube. But in 2017, she added a new chapter to her life: international adoption. Micah began documenting the process of adopting a child from China, a boy named Huxley who had autism and developmental needs. From the first announcement video on her channel to essentially daily updates after he arrived, Huxley quickly became a beloved child on the channel. Viewers followed his progress through expensive therapies, speech development, and family integration. Micah even received brand deals based on the visibility of the adoption. It had seemed like Micah and her husband were perfect parents to their newest child. In 2018, the Stoufers started posting more about Huxley's medical issues, which included a formal level 3 autism diagnosis and appeared to be actively stepping up his at-home therapy techniques. However, after Micah gave birth to the couple's fourth biological child in 2019, viewers started noticing that Huxley wasn't showing up as much on the Store for Life. When people in the comments would ask where Huxley is, they'll notice their comments would instantly be deleted. Then, in May 2020, everything changed. Micah uploaded a now-deleted video titled An Update on Our Family, revealing that she and her husband had rehomed Huxley.
The last couple months have been like the hardest thing I could have ever imagined choosing to do, because ultimately, after pouring our guts and our heart into this little boy.
The term rehome, which is commonly used for pets more than human beings, was an instant red flag. She explained vaguely that his needs were greater than they'd anticipated and that he was now with a better fit. But for millions of people, the message was clear. They gave their child away after building a platform and income around him. Within days of the backlash, 4 of her biggest sponsorships on the channel had completely ditched her, as well as brand reputation experts stating that Micah had become radioactive and unusable in any further commercial. The hashtag #CancelMicahStoer began going viral all over Twitter, and Micah had disappeared from the internet in its entirety. The Store for Life channel was completely deleted, with essentially no post remaining online. While her husband still uploads to the Store for Garage YouTube channel with over 1.3 million subscribers, Micah is nowhere to be seen. It's now been over 5 years since her last appearance online, and with the Store for Garage channel hitting an ultimate flatline in growth, it's unlikely we will ever hear from her or Huxley ever again. Ryan's World. Ryan's World is one of the biggest kids YouTube channels in history, with nearly 40 million subscribers, billion view videos, and a toy empire worth over $100 million. Ryan began his YouTube career at just 4 years old, unboxing toys like Lightning McQueen and surprise eggs. This was innocent, algorithm-friendly content. His early videos pulled in insane numbers, with some even crossing 1 and 2 billion views each. But as Ryan became a household name, questions started to surface. Why is a toddler creating optimized content, and why are his parents saying it was all his idea? Over the next decade, Ryan's life became YouTube, and in the background, his parents Loanne, who has a criminal history, and his quiet yet controlling father Shin, were building a media empire around him. Ryan was known worldwide by practically every kid anywhere. He was the main character in his own Ryan's World movie, and was on track to never have to work a day in his life again. But in recent years, things have changed. Views are drastically declining, from billions and hundreds of millions to sometimes not even pulling in 100,000. And with one quick look at his channel, it's obvious as to why. Ryan, who is now a teenager, still creates content that is made for toddlers. He is seen wearing superhero costumes and forcing his smile while playing games clearly made for kids. A TikTok clip mocking Ryan's superhero school video went viral with 40 million views. Multiple comments read, "Let bro retire," and he is counting how many videos he has done. The internet was no longer laughing with Ryan, but instead laughing at him. Then in August 2024, Ryan and his parents would be interviewed by a YouTuber, John Yushai. This was an attempt at redemption, which heavily backfired. Ryan barely spoke a word, while his father answered practically everything. The comments said it best: "I interviewed Ryan's parents." It comes to no surprise that Ryan's parents are controlling his life, as no teenager would willingly want to create this content anymore. His parents are focusing on the financial side of his channel, while not worrying about his mental health. The only question that remains is how much longer will this all go on for? Jessie Slaughter. Jessie Slaughter has a rather interesting rise on YouTube, as she wasn't exactly trying to become famous. But in 2010, at just 11 years old, she became the face of one of the internet's first viral cancellations. What started as an average teenage rant spiraled into one of the most disturbing harassment campaigns in early YouTube history. Back then, the internet was still figuring itself out. YouTube was only 5 years old, Twitter had just started trending, and viral videos were mostly harmless jokes and memes. But then came one of the first viral meltdowns that would take a very dark turn. Jessie Slaughter was the online username of Damian Leonhardt, an 11-year-old kid from America who posted videos to YouTube and MySpace. Back then, she was loud and fully immersed in what was called the scene kid community, a subculture built around heavy eyeliner, neon colors, and emo music. One of the most popular creators in that world was Davey Vanity. the lead character of a controversial electronic band called Blood on the Dance Floor. He had a massive teen fanbase at the time, but also a very disturbing secret. Rumors started going public that Jesse, at just 11 years old, had an inappropriate relationship with Davey, who was in his mid-20s at the time. This was talked about further on Rapzilla's interview, where she would state this:
the party, and so like I was cleaning up in the bathroom, and he was also in there cleaning up and helping me clean up and helping other girls, and so me and him just kind of like stayed behind talking for a little while, and it ended up moving into like sexual stuff, and then like him like asking me if like I had ever done stuff, and then yeah, like I ended up giving him a job in that bathroom.
In response, Jessie uploaded a now infamous video aggressively denying the rumors. She would swear at the camera and have her dad threaten to arrest people online because of what happened.
Okay, you guys, this is Jessie Stoer, and
you know what?
I just want to say that you guys have ruined my life.
I'm gonna tell you right now, this is from her father. You bunch of lying, no good punks, and I know who it's coming from because I've back traced it, and I know who's emailing and who's doing it, and you'll be reported to the cyber police and the state police. So you better write one more thing or screw with my computer again, you'll be arrested. End of conversation from her father.
It was raw, chaotic, and instantly went viral. But what came next wasn't just internet fame. It was a full-blown cyberbullying storm. Jessie's real name, address, and phone number were leaked. She even received multiple threats from countless people online. Her father uploaded a response video angrily threatening trolls, which only made things worse. And soon, Jessie Slaughter went from a random kid online to the internet's favorite punching bag. What nobody realized at the time was this wasn't just a bratty kid acting out, because in the years that followed, Jessie came forward with confirmation that she had been sexually assaulted by Davey, alongside 20 other victims coming forward at the same time. Once all of this information became publicly known to everyone online, the trolls immediately felt horrible for what they had done to Jessie. But seeing as every part of her online presence was deleted at the time, they had no way of communicating with her ever again. Gavin Magnus. Gavin Magnus is a name you've probably seen pop up if you've ever been in the world of kid YouTube stars or teenager music. Starting his channel at just 7 years old, Gavin quickly became a multi-talented creator. He was able to sing, act, and make challenge videos aimed primarily at a young audience. At first glance, it seemed like the dream. A kid with a camera, enthusiastic personality, and a growing fan base. He's most notably known for his cover of Señorita, which sits at over 70 million views to this day. But by the time Gavin was slowly turning into a teenager, his channel shifted heavily towards what you might call manufactured drama. Videos centered around fake dating storylines and staged breakups, which were all designed to keep viewers hooked and boost up his engagement numbers. The problem? Gavin, who was still a kid, was tasked with acting out complicated relationship scenarios that were far beyond his years. Making this type of content at such a young age can not just be confusing, but emotionally wrong for a child. People in the comments began to wonder if Gavin really enjoyed this, or if he just went through the motions for the camera. Nowadays, it's impossible to tell, as every old controversial video has its comments completely disabled. Behind the scenes, rumors piled up about the intense control that Gavin's management and family had over his career. There was the pressure to constantly produce content and keep up with his kid audience. As Gavin entered his teenage years, more and more cracks in his content started to show. The enthusiasm that once lit up his videos suddenly seemed forced. Some people speculated that Gavin was missing out on a normal childhood, which was later confirmed in his saying goodbye video. However, he also goes on to mention why he hasn't been the same lately.
This past year, we found out that my grandpa, he's been battling cancer. But after finding this out, things haven't been the same up here. You know, when you lose a relative especially, or when you know the loss of someone is near and coming soon, it messes with you. You know, you wake up and that's the first thing you think about.
He told everyone that his content will be changing.
And what I want you guys to take away from this is I'm not leaving, but things are changing. And I think it's for the better. You know, I'm gonna be doing content that I enjoy and content that makes me happy. And I hope you guys will be able to see that and feel that through the videos that you watch and like it just as much as me. Don't worry, I'm still gonna be uploading every Saturday and Sunday, but just different videos, different style of videos.
Although he hasn't posted all too much since the situation has calmed down.